Hello all, hope you all are doing great. Welcome to Know Mam YouTube channel. Like every time, today we come up with a new trending topic which is how to provision a Kubernetes cluster through Minikube. In this video, we'll show you how to set up a Kubernetes cluster using Minikube. We will cover both Windows and Linux environments. So you can follow along no matter what operating system you are using. Before we move forward, let's try to understand what exactly is Minikube quickly and what are the prerequisites that we need to install Minikube. So first, what is Minikube? Minikube is a tool that allows you to run single node Kubernetes cluster on your local machine. With Minikube, you can experiment many things without needing to create a larger cluster. For example, managed clusters like AWS EKS or Azure AKS, or there are multiple ways that you can provision a Kubernetes cluster using KubeADM or COPS cluster. There are multiple ways. Among all the ways, Minikube is easy to install and easy to use, and it is very user friendly and cost effective as well. So that is why we are going ahead with the Minikube installation now. If you got the prerequisites, so for your machine you need to have minimum 2 CPUs and minimum 2 GB of RAM is required and 4 GB is recommended. Similarly, you need to have minimum 20 gigs of free disk space and again 50 GB is recommended. You need to have a valid internet connection and you need to have a container runtime. For example, Docker, VirtualBox, VMware, any sort of virtualization capability you need. So that's all. Now pull up your devices and let's get started with the installation. So for this demo, I have two machines running. One is Linux VM and another is Windows VM. So the Linux VM, which is running with Ubuntu operating system, and Windows is running with Windows 2022 server. So first we'll see installation in Ubuntu, then we'll go ahead with Windows because it is bit time taking. So I'll click on Linux VM. I'll copy public IP of this particular machine. I'll try to connect with this session. I'll provide the host name and username as well. It will prompt me for the password. Yes. So I have logged into my Linux VM. I'm becoming root user now. So as we mentioned in prerequisite, we need to have one container environment. So for this demo, I'm using Docker as a container runtime. So what I'll do, I'll go to my browser, Linux Docker installation. So this link I'll provide in this video description. I'll follow these commands. So Ubuntu installation. So this is the command. So what we are doing, we are just setting up the repository here. It is updating packages. It will take a while. Done. So next we need to add this official GPG key of Docker into our operating system. So I did that. Then after adding this repo, we need to update your packages. Sudo apt-get update. Next, this is the actual command which is installing Docker community, Docker CE community edition, and Docker CLI container runtime, and then Docker compose, Docker buildx plugin. Everything it is installing here. So I'll paste this command. Okay, there is some problem. Let me paste this again. Yeah, all right. Yes. So to set up the repository, I'm using this command. Now again I'll update the repository. Done. Now we'll try to install Docker. Yes, it will take couple of minutes. Now Docker installation is completed. How can we check? Docker ps. We'll see any running containers are there. So nothing is running. So if we see, I have logged in as a root user and I'm checking this. Now if I become a normal user and check whether Docker is running or not, see, I'm getting permission denied error. So how can I overcome that? If you go here in post installation steps, so you need to add this second command, sudo usermod az docker and then user. So I'll paste this here. I'll exit from the terminal. I'll click R to reconnect. Now if I check Docker ps, I'll be able to access as a normal user as well. So Docker installation is completed. Now we'll check with Minikube installation. So in prerequisites, as we mentioned, it needs minimum 2 CPUs, minimum 2 gigs of free RAM, and minimum 20 gigs of free disk space and internet connection, all the prerequisites which I have already given. So now to install Minikube, this is the command. I'll just copy this command. I'll paste it in here. So done. Now Minikube is in your machine. You need to start the Minikube. How can we do that? Minikube start. If you see here, this particular line, Minikube on running on Ubuntu 20.04, and it is selected the Docker driver. That is why Minikube needs one driver. So whether it be VirtualBox, VMware, any sort of driver it need to bring up the cluster. So in our scenario, as we already installed Docker, which means we are telling Minikube to use Docker as a driver to bring up the cluster. So that is where by default it selected Docker as a driver, and Ubuntu is our operating system. It will take couple of minutes to bring up the cluster. As you can see, done. Kubectl is now configured and Minikube cluster, everything is done. So cluster is ready. How can we access that? So I'll take duplicate tab. The cluster is ready. We need to interact with the cluster, right? So how we will do that? Using kubectl. We'll check whether kubectl is available or not. See, kubectl is not available. How can we get that? Sudo snap install kubectl -f classic. So with this command, kubectl will get installed. I'll paste this command also in the description, don't worry. So now kubectl is installed. We'll check kubectl get nodes. See, Minikube cluster is ready. It is control plane. And also we'll see any pods are running or not. There are no space, no resources running on this space. What we'll do, we'll try to create some resources here. So how we'll do that? Kubectl run. I wanted to run nginx server and image equal to nginx. Okay, pod nginx is created. How can we check this pod? Kubectl get pods. See, one nginx is running. Similarly, you can also create deployment as well. Kubectl create deployment, and I'll give the name my web for my deployment, and again I'm using the image same nginx. See, deployment my web is created. How can I check that? Kubectl get deploy. So one deployment is running and it is ready. So I have raised a request for one replica of my deployment. It is up and running. Imagine I want to scale my deployment. How can I do that? Kubectl scale deployment. My deployment name is my web and I want to upgrade this from 1 to, for example, 6. See, the deployment has been scaled. Again, if I go ahead and check with deployment, see, 6 out of 6 are ready. So this is the way how you can provision Kubernetes cluster using Minikube in Ubuntu operating system. Whether it is Ubuntu server, whether it is Ubuntu operating desktop, the steps will remain same. So now we'll go ahead with the Windows server. How can I do that? So I'll go to my Azure portal, virtual machines. Here I have Windows VM. I'll copy public IP of my machine. I have copied. To interact with the Windows server, we need RDP, remote desktop protocol. So what I'll do, RDP, I'll click. So I'll paste my IP address here in show options. I'll provide username and click on connect. So it is asking for password. I'll provide my password here. I'll say yes. So I have logged into my server. It is loading. It is taking a while. Server manager page came up as it is a Windows server. I'll close this server manager page. I'll just refresh once and I'll open the browser. So in browser, Okay, start without data, continue without using data, confirm and browsing. Yes. So here I'll say Docker desktop, download Docker desktop. So I'll provide you the links. So I'm just downloading Docker desktop. So it is getting downloaded. Okay. Meanwhile, we'll also download Minikube. So Minikube, the same page. Here you need to select your operating system, Windows. So by default it is selecting. So I'll click on .exe download. So Docker is downloaded. I'll open this file. It will be little slow as it is around 600 MB file. See, the Docker desktop installation is starting. It will take around 5 minutes. It is unpacking the files. See, the installation is succeeded. It is asking to close and restart. So I'll click on close and restart. It will restart my machine. It will take a couple of minutes. I waited for 2 minutes. I'm trying to connect to VM again. It is asking for password. I'll say yes. We have logged into our server. You can see the icon, right? So Docker is installed. So I'll close this server manager page. I'll refresh. And if you want to check your Docker running status and all, from taskbar you can get this. So it is still loading. So okay, so here I need to accept terms and conditions. I'll click on accept. Now Docker is getting started. See, once the Docker is up and running, you will get an interface like this. So I'll click on skip tutorial. So this is the page we'll get in Docker desktop. So the same thing you can check with PowerShell as well. What I'll do, I'll open PowerShell. I'll say Docker. So all the Docker related things will come here. So if you want to see, we can run this sample Docker container, Docker image. So it will pull that image from the Docker hub and it will run in a detached mode on port 80. See, the same we can observe here. It is running. Okay. Now we are ready with Docker. So our next step is to install Minikube. How can we do that? I'll open my browser. I'll check for Minikube. So Minikube start. The same page. I'll go to latest release here by selecting operating system and all. So it is downloaded. So in Windows this error will come mostly in servers due to enhanced security. I'll click on more options and I'll say keep, show more, keep anyways. So this is just a security kind of enforcement. So I'll say open file. Okay, next, agree, install. So Minikube is getting installed. So I'll click on next and finish. So now Minikube also installed. So next we need to provision the cluster, right? How can we do that? I'll open PowerShell again, new PowerShell window. So I'll check whether kubectl is there or not. See, kubectl is get installed. So now what I need to do, Minikube start. Again, similar to the environment in Windows. So there it is giving Ubuntu 20.04. Here it is giving Microsoft Windows Server 2022 data center. This is the operating system of this particular machine. And also again, here it is using Docker desktop driver. In our previous case, it is using Docker driver. In some, if you are running VirtualBox or VMware something, the driver will be different. So it will take couple of minutes to come up. I'll pause the video and I'll resume once it is up. If you see, we got the same message. Done. Kubectl is now configured and Minikube cluster default namespace by default. So how can we check this whether the cluster is running or not? I'll open PowerShell, new window, and I'll say kubectl get nodes. See, Minikube is ready and it is a control plane running 74 seconds ago. So again, similar to our practice in Linux, we'll try to create one deployment. Kubectl create deploy Windows Web -fn image equal to nginx. Okay, if I go and check kubectl get pods, so it is getting created. Okay, I'll watch. So 13 seconds, it is still running. Kubectl get deploy, I'll say deployment, it is ready. And again, if you check pod, so pod also running. So again, if you want to scale this deployment, kubectl scale deploy, and the name is Windows Web. Okay, replicas equal to 6. So it is scaled. If I go on and check deployments again, so 1 of 6 is ready and remaining it will bring up. So that is it, guys. Provisioning Kubernetes cluster using Minikube in both Windows and Linux environments. I hope this video is helpful for you. To give us encouragement to make some more interesting videos like this, please like, share and subscribe to Know Mam YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your love. We'll see you in the next